Have you ever been told, either by a person or maybe a YouTube video, that you need at least $1 million in your portfolio to retire? I've talked to a lot of people who've been told that, and they're extremely frustrated because it seems as if there's this arbitrary number that you need to hit in order to retire. Well, here's the thing. There are many people I know who have amazingly comfortable retirements, and they have a lot less than $1 million in their portfolio. Well, I know other people who $1 million wouldn't come close to helping them meet their retirement goals. So what I want to do in today's video is help you understand how much would it actually take to create different levels of income in retirement so you can start to understand what the number might be for you to be able to comfortably retire. Hey everybody, I'm James Knoll, founder of Root Financial, and I'm here to help you get the most out of life with your money. A lot of people just want the same thing. What do I have to do to be able to retire? Whether it's an income amount or portfolio value, there's not a lot of great information sometimes specific to their situation. So they might look at nationwide averages. The Bureau of Labor Statistics said that the average retiree in 2021 spent $52,000. Now, that's a good starting point, but the reality is it depends upon the state that you live in, what your property taxes are, what portion of your expenses are made up of healthcare. There's so many variables that are specific to you that just looking at nationwide averages doesn't quite cut it. So instead of trying to look at what are average expenses, let's look at it from the opposite perspective. What would it take to create $5,000 per month of income versus $10,000 per month of income versus even $15,000 per month of income? Because once you start to understand what that looks like, then it might be easier to see what makes sense for your situation. So let's actually just go through this exercise together. Instead of me saying, look, if you want $5,000 per month, you need X dollars in your portfolio. If you want $10,000 per month, you need X dollars in your portfolio. Let's work out the numbers together so we can see what this might look like. Let's assume a couple are retiring. We're gonna call them Elon and Elona Dusk. Not to be confused, of course, with Elon Musk. This is Elon and Elona Dusk. They are both 65 years old. So what do we know? 65 years old. And what we know is Elon has a Social Security benefit at full retirement age of $3,000 per month. Elona, at the same age, at full retirement age, her Social Security benefit, let's assume, is $2,000 per month. Well, their full retirement age, based upon their birth year, is age 66 and 8 months. So those are the details, and let's assume they're asking the question, can we retire? You know, we want to spend $5,000 per month. What would it look like for us to be able to do so? So $5,000 per month is the goal. Well, based upon the information we know, let's work this out. Let's assume they retire today and they collect Social Security today. Well, at age 66 and 8 months, they would both have $5,000 per month combined. So $3,000 for Elon, $2,000 for Elona. But if they're collecting early, they're gonna take a reduction in their Social Security benefit. Here's what those numbers actually come out to. So if Elon collects at age 65, his Social Security benefit isn't actually $3,000 per month. His benefit is $2,667 per month because he's taking an 11+% reduction by collecting early. If we look at Elona, her benefit, if she's collecting early, is $1,776 per month. So combined, you are looking at $4,443 per month of Social Security income at age 65. Now, that's not quite enough. We've established that Elon and Elona want to live on $5,000 per month. So if they need $5,000, and if they only have $4,443 coming in per month, what that means is there's a shortfall. And that shortfall in their situation is $557 per month, which on an annual basis comes out to around $6,700 per year. Now I'm gonna take some liberties in this video. I don't know exactly what state Elon and Elona live in. I don't know exactly what state you live in. However, what I do know is that with Social Security, many states don't tax Social Security benefits. And with these specific numbers we're looking at so far, they're likely not paying taxes at the federal level on their Social Security income because of something called provisional income. So when we look at this, I'm going to assume they're in a 0% tax bracket because at these numbers, that's actually very likely. Why I'm saying that is when we say we need to generate $6,700 per year of income from investments, we don't actually need to apply any taxes on that for this situation. What we do need to know, however, is what portfolio size is required to create $6,700 per year of income. I'm going to assume a 5% withdrawal rate. So Elon and Elona are invested in a portfolio and applying a withdrawal strategy that says they can take out 5% per year of their portfolio. So if we divide 6,700 by 5%, what that tells us is $134,000 is the required portfolio value needed to make this happen. So if Elon and Elona came to me and said, James, can we retire? We're 65. The reduction in our Social Security benefit by collecting at 65 would be $4,443 per month. We also have $134,000 in our portfolio. That tells me you're probably in a position to be able to retire. Now, what if Elon and Elona said, James, we have no money in our portfolio. Does that mean somehow we need to get from $0 to $134,000 as soon as possible to retire? No, because keep in mind, the portfolio is only one aspect, actually one relatively small aspect of their total income plan in this scenario. The other thing we know is if they just wait another 1 year and 8 months, so 20 months from now, then all of a sudden, what do we know? Well, what we know is they can then collect their full Social Security benefit. So if they waited till 66.8 or 66 and 8 months to retire, now all of a sudden $5,000 per month comes from Social Security. That fully meets their needs, which technically means you don't have to have any money in a portfolio to be able to maintain that lifestyle. In fact, if they waited all the way until 70, their Social Security benefit would be even higher because of something called delayed retirement credits. You get an 8% increase in your Social Security benefit every year after your full retirement age that you don't collect. So in fact, if they waited until 70 to collect, their total Social Security benefit would be in excess of their monthly needs. So what I hope this starts to illustrate is there's not a one-size-fits-all answer. James, I want to spend $5,000 per month. How much do I need in my portfolio? Well, potentially nothing. If you wait long enough and grow a large enough Social Security benefit or pension benefit or some other income source, or maybe $134,000 if you retire at 65 with these numbers. Maybe a higher portfolio value if you collect Social Security even sooner, which is reducing your benefit even more, which means more of your income has to come from your portfolio. So that's what it looks like if they want to spend $5,000 per month. But as I mentioned, we want to look at multiple different income amounts in retirement because everyone's different in what they want to spend. What if Elon and Elona now come to me, same exact circumstances, 65 years old, full retirement age at 66 and 8 months, $3,000 per month in Social Security for Elon, $2,000 for Elona. They say, James, we've reconsidered. We actually want to spend $10,000 per month in retirement. What might it cost to do that? So let's go through that same exercise and say now the goal is $10,000 per month of income. Well, I think what some people might think, they say, okay, well, we're doubling the cost of retirement. So going from 5,000 to 10,000, does that just mean we double the portfolio value? We needed 134,000 before. Now we need, 268,000 and everything's good? No, because we're not just doubling the portfolio value because Social Security made up most of the living expenses in that previous example. And Social Security is not doubling. It's still going to be the same fixed amount. So we're going to need more than double to come from our portfolio to make up the shortfall. So let's go through that same example, but there's going to be a twist here that's really important that you realize this for your specific numbers. If you recall, we said if Elon and Elona both collect at age 65, their Social Security benefit would be $4,443 per month. Now, that's what it seems to be at first, but there's a concept of something called provisional income with Social Security. I'm linking a video here. If you want to see exactly how Social Security gets taxed, be sure to watch this video once this video is complete. But provisional income is the way that we determine how much of your Social Security benefit is included in your taxable income. So in the previous example, nothing was included in taxable income because their provisional income was under the threshold to the point that none of their benefit was taxed. Well, now, based upon how much is going to need to come from Elon and Elona's IRA or other portfolio in this example, I'm going to assume that they're in a 10% tax bracket. And when I say a 10% tax bracket, I mean a 10% effective tax bracket. Not marginal tax bracket, but effective. So if you average all of their income over all the different tax brackets, for simplicity, let's just assume 10%. Well, now they have exceeded the provisional income thresholds and a full 85% of their Social Security benefit is included in their taxable income. Doesn't mean 85% of it is taxed, but 85% of it is subject to that 10% is what that means. What does that do to Social Security? Well, it's no longer actually $4,443 that they would receive after taxes. Now they're receiving $4,065 after taxes. So we want to look at after taxes, because if you say you want to spend $10,000 per month, you probably don't want to spend $10,000 per month knowing that $2,000 of that is going to the IRS. That really means $8,000 is yours. You're talking about $10,000 per month to do what you want to do. So $40,065 is coming from Social Security. What that means is the shortfall, the remainder here, that is what needs to come from their portfolio. And in this example, the shortfall would be $5,935 per month, which comes out to $71,220 per year. So this is the amount that they need to be able to generate from their portfolio to complement Social Security and live on this $10,000 per month that we're looking at right here. We're not done yet, because this money is also subject to taxes. So $71,220, that's after taxes. So if we're assuming a 10% tax bracket, then we need to divide that number by 90%. In other words, we're saying $71,220 represents 90% of the larger number, because once 10% is extracted for taxes, you have 90% left over. So that comes out to $79,133 per year pre-tax that they would need to pull from their portfolio. So what we do next is we divide that. So what we do next is the same thing we did in the previous example. Okay, $79,133 needs to represent, call it 5% of the larger portfolio value. So if we divide this by 5%, what we get is $1.583 million. So $1,583,000. That's how much Elon and Elona would need in this example, so that after taxes, they would have enough from their portfolio to supplement the Social Security after tax amount and be able to live on $10,000 per month. As you can see, this is a very different number than what was required to live on $5,000 per month. And that's because in the previous example, 90+%, so the $5,000 per month example, 90+% of that income came from Social Security. A very small amount needed to come from the portfolio. Well, now a much larger amount needs to come from the portfolio, almost 60% of the monthly number. So that's the reason for the dramatic change in how much of a portfolio is required to make this happen. But this is how much portfolio is required to do this at age 65. What if Elon and Elona kept working until full retirement age? Well, how would that change things? Well, what it would do is now the Social Security benefit is higher. And because the Social Security benefit is higher, the amount that needs to come from the portfolio is lower. So if I was to run through those same numbers, what we would see is the new amount that they would need in their portfolio is $1,447,000. So this is at 65, they would need $1,583,000. At 66 and 8 months, they would need $1,447,000. If they waited all the way until age 70 to retire and start collecting Social Security benefits, then they would need just over $1 million, but I'm going to round it to $1 million in this example, to be able to retire and spend $10,000 per month. $6,333 pre-tax would come from Social Security. The remaining after-tax amount would need to come from their portfolio, and the portfolio size needed to generate that would be $1 million. All right, now Elon and Elona come back one more time. They say, James, you know what? It's not $5,000 per month we want to live on. It's not even $10,000 per month we want to live on. We are really thinking about it, looking at the budget, getting the cars we want and the things we want to do. We've determined it's really going to cost $15,000 per month to do what we want to do. How much portfolio do we need to make this happen? So let's go through the same exercise. Now, we've already worked out how some of this math works and provisional income and the after tax, so let's just look at the numbers without going through the full exercise we did previously. The first thing I'm going to do in this example is I'm going to assume a tax rate. And again, I'm taking some liberties here and just using round numbers to make the math relatively easy as we go through it. And I'm going to assume a 15% effective tax rate for Elon and Elona in this specific situation. As a reminder, a 15% effective tax rate means the marginal tax rate is actually higher, but the effective tax rate is the blended tax rate across the board. So if we assume that, then at age 65, I want to look at what would the after-tax Social Security benefit be? It would be $3,877. So remember, they take a reduction for collecting Social Security at 65 instead of 66 and 8 months. And then that reduction of that amount, 85%, is now taxed at 15%. So the after-tax amount of Social Security is $3,877. What does that mean? It means the remainder, or the difference, that needs to come from the portfolio. Well, the remainder in this example is $11,123 per month. That's how much needs to come from the portfolio after tax every month to supplement what's coming in after tax from Social Security. So the next thing we do is we divide that by 85%. So this number here, this needs to represent 85% of the pre-tax number. So 85%, so $11,123 divided by 85%, we get $13,085 per month. I'm rounding these a bit just to use round numbers, but if you have $13,085 per month, paid 15% taxes on that, what you get is $11,123 per month after taxes. The next thing that we have to do, same thing as before. How do we translate this to an annual number? Well, $13,085 per month represents about $157,000 per year. That's how much we would need before taxes are taken out to generate an after-tax amount sufficient to complement or supplement Social Security. Same thing as before again, divide this by a 5% portfolio withdrawal rate. Now what we get is we determine we need a portfolio of $3,140,000 in order to generate the $157,000 distribution per year to allow us to spend $15,000 per month after tax for the rest of our life. Once again, let's take a look at what would these numbers be if they retired at 66 and 8 months instead of retiring at 65. So this number here is at 65. Well, at 66 and 8 months, instead of $3.14 million in their portfolio, they would need just about exactly $3 million to make it happen. At age 70, again, Social Security goes up, which means portfolio income needs go down. They would need $2,675,000 to generate income sufficient to complement Social Security. So as we go through this, I want to just illustrate the point here. You probably don't have the same exact Social Security benefit as Elon or Elona. You probably don't even have the same exact living expense desires as Elon or Elona. But I wanted to illustrate the fundamental things that go into determining what you need to be able to make this happen. So what could impact this in your case? Well, the biggest thing is non-portfolio income. So pension, Social Security. We saw how different Social Security amounts changed how much needs to come from the portfolio. Real estate income, part-time work and retirement. All of those things have major implications in terms of how much portfolio do you need to supplement the difference or the shortfall between those income sources and what you actually want to spend. Your age of retirement is hugely important. The difference between collecting at age 62 and age 70 is a benefit that can be 75% or more higher by age 70 than at 62. So depending on when you retire, that's going to dramatically change how much is coming in from Social Security. And not just that, but if you retire at age 70 versus, say, age 60, your portfolio doesn't have to support your needs for as many years. Assume a life expectancy of 90 in both those cases. If you retire at 60, you need 30 years worth of living expenses from your portfolio. If you retire at 70, assuming same life expectancy, you only need 20 years worth of distributions from that same portfolio, which means less of a portfolio is needed to make that happen. Then your actual expenses obviously matter. You saw how dramatically different those portfolio values were that we looked at based upon spending $5,000 per month, $10,000 per month, $15,000 per month. Another big thing is your expenses aren't going to stay consistent. There's the go-go years when you first retire and you're active and you're traveling, and you're doing things and you're spending. Then there's the slow-go years where you're starting to spend less, you're not doing as much, you're not traveling as frequently. Then there's the no-go years where you're typically doing very little, but medical costs might start to increase at that time because of a need for care. So understand what your actual expenses will be. Don't just plan on $5,000 or $10,000 or $15,000 forever, but have an understanding of how that might change. And then finally, tax rate. So the higher your tax rate, the more you'll actually need in your portfolio so that after taxes, you can have what you actually need to live on. So depending on what state you live in, that's going to impact your tax rate. And depending on the composition of your portfolio, is it mostly pre-tax or mostly Roth or mostly brokerage? All of these things matter. So we went through a very simple example to illustrate the method by which you can calculate this, but all these factors will influence this so that you can come up with the right number for you. One thing that I hope you see as we're going through this is how dramatically important your Social Security benefit is. The timing at which you collect, the way in which you collect has huge implications in terms of how large your portfolio needs to be or how much you can spend in retirement. That's why I created this video right here. It's so important that you understand how to maximize your Social Security benefit because that can become the foundation of a well-rounded financial plan. So in this video that you see the link for, I talk about 4 simple things you can do to increase your Social Security benefit, which ultimately helps to create a much better, much more fulfilling retirement when you include everything else as well. Once again, I'm James Knoll, founder of Root Financial, and if you're interested in seeing how we help our clients at Root Financial get the most out of life with their money, be sure to visit us at www.rootfinancialpartners.com.